Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. I hope you're all having an outstanding day. So did my clickbait thumbnail get you? Yes, no, I guess it's all yeses because if you're here it works. So ha 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 ha! Win for the squirrel. But anyways, so today's video is, this is a ranked game. It was just, it ended up being something fun to share, so that's why I'm sharing it, to be quite honest. Nothing that special. I won't say the comp that we end up going for, so I don't spoil anything. But you did see a few of the pieces, so you can guess what comp we ended up going, and let's see how good your guess is, right? So the giveaways are, I end up with a Siren, Abyssal Crawler, and a Fallen Witcher. Take what you will from it. Another main thing out of this game is I did just turn it into kind of testing because I wanted to see the ORB refresh or some of its interactions. So if you couldn't tell in the thumbnail, basically I get a ORB refresher. I test it on the Fallen Witcher because I wanted to see if when he transforms, I know that he gets health again, but I wanted to see if his attack damage and attack speed buff would stack. And then same thing with the Abyss Crawler. I just wanted to, that one was different. That one I know that it's less than optimal, but I've actually had a lot of people tell me to try ORB refresh on an Abyss Crawler, and I want to kind of use this video to point out to people why that is probably one of the worst heroes you can put ORB refresh on. When you get an ORB refresh, the thing is that what it does is it resets your cooldown, okay? But your mana also goes to 0, so you use 100 mana to do your ult, and then your ult has no cooldown. So the reason that's bad on Abyssal Crawler is as soon as Abyssal Crawler ultimates, she can't generate mana, so then she can't ultimate until her current ultimate is done. And her ultimate cooldown is so short, and her mana regeneration is good enough with 1 mana crystal that she perma-ults anyways. Like, no matter what, that she ults the same, whether she has 1 mana crystal or ORB refresh. But so anyways, we'll talk more about that when we get to that point in the video, but I do just want to point it out, just for, you know, players who may not be aware of some of the mechanics of the game. Yeah, I thought this game would be a good one because I do get multiple ORB refresh, so I don't need to kind of, we'll see as the game goes. I don't need the items as much as I would in other games. Anyways, so let's talk about decision making. We'll go play by play now. So we're just scouting. Glacier Knights we see, probably another Glacier team because they're empty forting. Somebody empty forting with a Priest. So the Fortune Teller is probably either going Glacier Knights or going to end up in some sort of Feather build. And then, as always, we have Hunters going on. So my scout is mainly to decide what comp I should go for. If you look at my build, I'm kind of setting up for like some sort of 6 warriors with demons because we have the Taboo, we have the early Fallen Witcher. The Poison Worm is nice, and then same thing with the Lord of Sand. You know, they kind of lead themselves into Beast Warriors. We could also be thinking about Druids, like a Feather Druid team, because Queen of Pain and the Lord of Sand can be one of my 3 assassins, and we have a Unicorn, but you know, that's all we really have for that. So really, right now, if we look at our bench, if we look at what we're getting, the 2 realistic choices right now are a 6-warrior demon type of team or a Glacier setup. So anyways, we'll see how the first rounds play out. Right now, we did not opt to, we did opt to level at 6, so we have a 5-person team in, and that is something that is going to help us because we were doing well. But I'm scouting again, and here what I'm watching, if you notice, I'm checking out the people who I think can beat me, and I'm asking myself, can you stay on a win streak or not, right? So that is a question currently happening. We could pick up the Trent Protector here to open up Feather, and it looks like that's what we're going to do, because the reason for that is when we're scouting, we already saw that there's probably 2 teams who are going towards Glacier something, most likely Glacier Knights. And the only Glacier Knights I had at that point are just a 1-cost Defector and a 1-cost Frost Knight. So it's, I mean, those aren't key components in a Knight comp. It's already round 8. I think that's about time to just call it. Like, yeah, that, right? And see, this person we're fighting as an example. They already have a 2-star Hell Knight, 2-star Desperate Doctor, 2-star Defector. I'm just going to be behind the curve if I try to follow them into Glacier Knights. So anyways, we get lucky. We hit a 2-star Trent Protector because of that Druid synergy. So now, like we were saying, this is definitely looking like either a warrior game or a feather game. So that is the setup, and we're kind of adjusting our positioning here. And we get in a pretty solid position. I am putting the Fallen Witcher in the most damage taken position because we want him to ultimate quickly. I don't think we have a mana item on him, so he is going to ultimate slowly if he's not being attacked. So anyways, it works. He gets attacked. Unfortunately, he's a stone. Does he come out of it in time? He does not come out of the spirit passive in time, and he dies before he gets his ultimate off, so that's unfortunate. But we are fighting second place. And like we said, when we were scouting, we realized that we're probably not going to be able to keep win streaking just because of where people's teams are looking at. Okay, so we get an egg. Going to use it on the Fallen Witcher for tempo. Now I am thinking about a win streak because a 2-star Fallen Witcher early game is really, really nice. We have a hard choice in the shop because, like I said, we're really pretty even when it comes, and this is a great topic for a lot of you, is these are the hard choices. When you're really between two builds and you're getting to that point where you kind of need to make a commitment. I think 2 videos again, I was showing you what happens when you're really indecisive in a game. So that game I was kind of wishy-washy here and there. I was like selling heroes and then coming back to the same heroes. So I'm just kind of keeping that in mind in this game, and we really want to decide, are we going warriors or are we going feather druids, right? So those are decisions that you want to be decisive about. So anyways, we hit our first mana item, I believe, and then we can get that on our Wormy Boy or our Fallen Witcher. And I probably right now, I think I end up putting it on Wormy Boy because maybe it is my Fallen Witcher has a mana item already. I'd have to click on him. I can't remember, to be quite honest, if I put it on him or not. But anyways, so you can still see we're set up for the warriors or the feather. And let's talk about kind of the consequence. So if you notice, in feather pieces on my bench, I have 5 gold, right? So the feather, Shining Archer, Whissier are 2 and 2, and the Unicorn's 1. So that's 5 gold towards feather, and our warriors, we have 6 gold sitting there, okay? So we can't get to the next econ level by selling them, so I don't need to sell them yet. Hopefully that explanation is making sense. So the warriors, we have 6 gold, which would only get us to 9. And the druids, we only have 5 gold, so that would only get us to 8. But in this next round, or these coming rounds, the econ impact will matter, so we do kind of need to commit more. And there you go. We are deciding, okay, forget it. We're giving up on the warriors. We hit another Taboo Witcher. Let's start going the feather route. And part of that also is scouting. If we see Glacier Knight teams, then, you know, feather, we can out-tempo them before they get their 3-star Lightblade, 3-star Hell Knights, right? We can get our 3-star Druids, hopefully, to hold us in the game. It's kind of that type of thinking. So now that we have shifted to Feather Druids, now the question becomes, when we scout, we're answering is, are we going Assassins or are we going Hunters, okay? So that becomes the question. And I think I want to go Assassin because, and there's actually a Dwarf Sniper, which we could have picked up in the shop, I believe. But I was thinking of going Assassin because there was no Assassin teams, and I saw nobody contesting Assassins. So at this point, I'm definitely leaning towards Assassins. Also, I have a Lord of Sand, I have a Queen of Pain, which are either of them can be my 3rd Assassin in a Feather Assassin comp. So that's definitely the way we're leaning. We do hit another Trent Protector, which is awesome. Scouting, again, I'm looking, are there Hunters and are there Feather, or are there Assassins? So if you notice, there is a Hunter team, and there is 2 teams with Shining Archer, and then there's one already with the Dwarf Sniper, Shining Archer, and a Wind Ranger. So that's why we're thinking, okay, let's target Assassins. Same thing with the Assassins. We see that there's teams with Lord of Sands, but that's it as far as Assassins go. The Shadow Crawler is not contested. The Shining Assassin's not contested, so that's looking good for us. You know, if the probabilities play out, then Assassins is probably the way we're going. So, synergies-wise, we're looking solid. Nice, we hit the Wisps here, so the good in that is we can get our 3 feather in, and now it's deciding who to get rid of, and yes, I think that is the right play. We do lose our beast buff, but if we consider, we saw that Lord of Sand is the contested piece over Queen of Pain, so I think that's why I'm thinking him. But then I'm thinking, you know what, the beast synergy, so I do think keeping the Lord of Sand is the best play. Yeah, I agree with that. So, just because of synergies, right? Our Fallen Witcher is our carry right now. The Feather and other stuff are there to just kind of distract the enemies. And if you ask yourself who is a better distraction type piece, the Lord of Sand or the Queen of Pain, it's definitely Lord of Sand. Look, he just tanked 2, maybe even 3 of the marksmen. Their aggro because he has that 10 armor, because he's going to jump back there. And he was bringing me beast synergy, which is just making my Fallen Witcher hit even harder. So I do think that was the right call. And either selling the Queen of Pain or the Lord of Sand, no matter what, gets me to Econ. It got me to the next 10. So here, looking to Econ, it's probably time to say goodbye to the Poison Worm. The one on my bench, not the one on the board. And the reason I say that is because at this point we're going Feathered, right? Like, we know we're going Feathered. And there's no variation of Feathered where I would put a Wormy Boy in the game, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. I think I'm sticking with it here because I have a Mana Crystal on it, and I'm 1 away from a 2-star, and a 2-star Wormy Boy with a Mana Crystal can carry you pretty well into the early 20 rounds. Like, it can do very, very well until that point, and we're hitting another Mana Crystal, and this is when we're going to hit an Orb of Refresh. So there we go, first Orb of Refresh. And who to put it on? Bam, we're putting it on the Wormy Boy for right now over the Fallen Witcher. So there we go. There is one of our first Orb of Refreshings. But anyways, back to Between the Worm and the Shining Archer. I think if I look back, the play was to sell the Wormy Boy instead. And here's a Siren. We definitely need to grab that Siren. And then we want to make space for her, and we just hit an Orb of Refresh. The only problem with the Siren now is it's 1-star, so positioning it on the board could be rough. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's the only thing. If we sell the worms, we don't get our economy up, so we can kind of sit on this for right now. But I definitely think the worms time has passed. I would not be surprised if I sell it next round, and honestly, I think I should have sold it there. Got the Orb of Refreshing, put the Orb of Refreshing on my Siren, and put the Siren in the game. So those, to me, would be the optimal play. Good news is, though, we do hit another Trent Protector, so we're beefy into the mid-game, into the, right after the Wolves, round 16. With the double Trent Protector, with the 3 feather synergy. Obviously, we want to get to 6, but 3 is already good, especially with 2 Trent Protectors who are really beefy and they have that nice heal and they just synergize well together. So we're scouting, are there mage teams, are there the hunter teams, how many people have dwarf snipers? Because at this point you can tell it's kind of like, okay, do I want to pick up maybe some of the snipers? And yes, we do sell the Wormy Boy, that's great. And oh yeah, here is going to be our test on the Fallen Witcher is, let's see what he does. And I think the reason I don't put the Siren there, I don't know, 1-star Sirens have started to kind of scare me in the game, to be quite honest. Like, I feel it's very hard to get value out of them, because when they're 1-star, their ultimate doesn't reach that far. So if the enemies are diagonal to you, a 1-star Siren basically does nothing. And keep in mind, their damage isn't good. If it's the same side spawn like this one, same thing. If I'm in row 2 with my Siren, it doesn't really hit most of the enemy team. So you need to position up towards like row 3 or row 4 with your Siren. But a 1-cost Siren, row 4 is really risky. And by row 4, I mean like the row closest to the enemy. So Taboo is in row 1 as an example. Wisp, row 2, Fallen Witcher, row 3, and then row 4. So, anyways, I think at this point, especially if we're starting to put in the marksman, we should definitely get the Orb of Refresh. But obviously, I did want to test the Orb of Refresh on the Fallen Witcher, and you can tell it doesn't work. So notice, first ult, it heals, and it leeches my Dwarf Sniper. Second ult, once again, it heals. So it kind of helps in that way. Like, it helps in that it keeps your Fallen Witcher alive really, really long because it gets a double heal. So, I mean, it helps in that way, but if you notice, I've been clicking on the Fallen Witcher, and you can see that its attack damage does not get buffed beyond. It doesn't get buffed a second time. But anyways, so it looks like now we were thinking we were going to go towards assassins because people weren't contesting them, but the game's giving us the hunters, and honestly, as soon as we hit that siren, I would say a siren with Orb refreshing is just you can't reject that. You know what I mean? Like you can't turn that down. Also, Fallen Witcher's time is coming to an end. Fallen Witchers are things that can carry you really well early game, but I mean around round 20 is probably, you're going to want to start phasing them out. They're not really, they can be good if you think you could actually get to 3-star, but a 2-star Fallen Witcher towards, you know, in 20 plus rounds is probably something that's going to fall off and you're not really super happy about. The reason why round 20 is a big one for a lot of fall off of certain early to mid game heroes is because round 21 is when people hit their 8 hero teams and they get into their late game synergies. So that's kind of when some of these early just individually powerful units fall off, right? There's more silences out on the board. There's more like CC. There's just more everything. So anyways, I think with the Siren hitting 2-star, 100% got to sell the Fallen Witcher, throw the Siren in there, get that Orb refresh on her, and go from there. And then hopefully you could hit a third marksman, and yeah, that would be the best. So it looks like we're not going to because it's a minion round, but at round 21, it's 100% misplay if I don't take out something and get in my Siren. And the reason I'm saying Fallen Witcher, even though he's not the worst unit I have on the board, is because he has the Orb of Refresh. A Siren without an Orb and a Siren with an Orb are completely different animals. A Siren with Orb is one of the hardest carries in the entire game. Like, it is almost unfair to the enemy team type of carry. So that's why I say it the way that I do. So we do go to round 21, like we said. We're trying to roll to see what we get. Still not really hitting our other feather. And yes, we are going to put in Siren, and then I hopefully will be putting in... Okay, so this is a misplay too. I think that I should put in the Feather Assassin to get 3 marksmen, and I would probably take out the Lord of Sand. The reason I wanted the Abyssal Guard in there is because there was a lot of mages and dragon type teams that it's going to help us with. Or I'm assuming. Honestly, I can't remember from the last time we saw the scoreboard, but I hope so. If there's not dragon and mage teams, then that's also another misplay. So this video... and in general, misplays are common at all levels, right? And I think for a lot of people, sometimes we get stuck on RNG. And you all know, I'm one of those people. Like, I have this fault too. I get stuck on RNG, and it kind of blinds me sometimes to the mistakes that I'm just flat out making. So that's why I think in the coming videos, I'm going to try to point out my mistakes a little bit more often, just because I feel like I've kind of been spreading the wrong message to Squirrel Nation, and I've been talking about RNG a little bit too much, and I went overboard with it, so I kind of want to bring it back into a different range. So, okay, nice. And get out the stupid Lord of Sand and put in your... Oh, man. Okay, So you can see we're thinking the Abyssal Crawler so that can be our assassin once we get our other assassins, but I wish I would put in my my Shining Archer to get my 3 marksman bonus. I still am not really seeing... I'm going to have to pay more attention when our next scouting comes. Is there just way more mages? Is there tons of mages in this game? I mean, I guess there must be. I really hope there is, or we're just going insane with our gameplay here. Okay, I keep interrupting my point, but my main point is... No, so 2 Glacier Knight teams on top. Okay, in third place is a mage, and we have a Divinity Mage. Okay, so we do have 2 mages. That's why we're rushing that. But there we go. We hit our 6th feather with a Shadow Crawler, and nice. We're going to roll down to see if we can hit some stuff. We do hit the 2-star, and we finally get our Razor Claw, which is a huge upgrade. That's going to help us stop the bleeding. We finally get our Shining Archer in with that. We sell the Lord of Sand, which is great because, and we get in a Razor Claw, nice. No, yeah, we needed the Shadow Crawler. We sell the Lord of Sand because if you think about what is our third assassin is going to be the Abyssal Crawler, and also we are going for 3 Hunter. So we already know that our team comp is going to be the Feather Hunter Assassins, which means our Razor Claw is not going to be on the board, and the reason you're really going Lord of Sand generally is to bring in Beast Buff with your Razor Claw, so we know that we're getting away from that, so I can sell the Lord of Sand, so that's good. And we obviously did roll down to just kind of get our tempo better. We needed to make our team stronger because we were bleeding off too much health. And anyways, so and we had too much synergies that were missing. So our quality wasn't good, and we were bleeding off health because our synergies weren't where we needed them to be. But anyways, so now we got our 6 feather the optimal way. We get our Shining Assassin, and I definitely am going to be looking for a way to put in the Shadow Crawler. The Taboo isn't hitting, so what I should do here is I should get in the Shadow Crawler, use the egg on the Shadow Crawler, I think, and then sell the Taboo Witchers. To me, that would be the optimal play right here. And the reason for that is I'm already level 8, my economy is really low. It's almost impossible for me to get a 3-star Taboo Witcher. Like, it's highly, highly unlikely for me to get a 3-star Taboo Witcher. And if that's the case, then why not bring in my 3 Assassin synergy? So that for me is how I would break this down. But anyways, we are down to single-digit economy, but our team is strong. So the good news is our team is strong, our tempo worked, we hit a lot of stuff that we would have wanted to hit to make our team strong. The bad news is the other top teams have really healthy economies, and they're way ahead of us in that terms. And here's some hard choices. Oh man, what to do. If we look at this, the play is sell the Taboo Witcher gets us to 5 gold so we can buy the Shining, but we still can't buy the Razor Claw. Sell an egg? No, because I have too many egg targets. Shadow Crawler can be egged. Razor Claw can be egged. I think you have to lock that screen. If anybody sees a better play on this one, leave the timestamp and let me know what you think the better play was there, but I think locking is the correct play here. Because eggs, so I'm going to have a 2-star Shining. 1 egg can go to my Razor Claw, 1 egg can go to my Razor Claw, or sorry, my Shadow Crawler, 1 egg can go to my Razor Claw, or one of the eggs can be used to get my Wind Ranger to 2-star also. So I don't think getting rid of an egg is the way. And yeah, there's just too much valuable stuff. And honestly, I think I should use the egg on the Wind Ranger because we'll have a pair because of this shop. So there we go. That's the 2-star. Take the Wind Ranger. We're talking about tempo. Make my team as strong as I can early. And yeah, there we go. And then put that in, remove. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we play what I think is the optimal play. If, like I said, if you see something that you think would have been a better play, let me know in the comments, and we can have a discussion. So anyways, we were pretty good. We have ORB Refresh Siren. We are triple Hunter, triple Assassin, Feathered. And it's pretty good in this game because we do have 2 mage teams, so the Marine's going to help me there. We're fighting one of them right now, which is Divinity. And then we have Glacier Knights, where the Assassins will actually help me with the Marksmen, because they'll just kind of distract the Glacier Knights, and they'll hopefully kill the Berserker, kill the Lightblade Knight, while my Hunters kind of have time to get value. So anyways, at this point in the game, I need to think about, do I want to go to level 9 and get in a Razor Claw, or do I want to try to start getting some of the Assassins to 3-stars, right? Especially, like, Abyssal Crawler is a good 3-star target because it's a 2-cost unit, and it's a very, very powerful, it's a powerful assassin. It has a really great ultimate. It can really carry late game. It can go 2v3, 1v3, 1v4. They're not uncommon things. And here we go. Our Assassin does get on, our Shadow Crawler gets on the Berserker like we said. Bam, the Abyss Crawler jumps back there too. And if you notice what I'm saying, how it helps with the Glacier, is our Assassins are back on the Berserker, back on the Lightblade Knight, and they're distracting that damage, and my Hunters still have time to just kind of chip away. So, beautiful. And the Siren with ORB Refresh is obviously just a CC goddess. So, I think my play here is now we're basically just econing and grabbing what the game brings to us. So, Taboo, it's something we could. To me, the Taboo, if by some miracle I get it to 3-stars, that's good, but it's honestly unlikely. So, to be clear what I'm saying to everybody, At level 8, you have a 24% chance to get 1-cost units, okay? I have a 30% chance to get 2-cost units. So at this point in the game, I actually have a higher probability of getting my Abyssal Crawler to 3-star than I do my Taboo Witcher. So that's what I'm meaning by I really think I should give up on it. Okay, and a warrior team is just going to be rough, and these 3-stars, look at these. 1 war chief, a swordsman, and a freaking werewolf 3-star. Oh my gosh. Whew. Ooh, baby. Somebody hit the jackpot. But the dodge, never sleep on the dodge. Thankfully, the good thing is we killed the swordsman. The swordsman, a 3-star swordsman at first feather is rough times. Because his ultimate is magic damage, so the feather units can't avoid it. So you could see he tore through my front line pretty well. We're also scouting to see how other people are performing against us, and this other feather player is stomped me, absolutely stomped me. So that means in this case I'm not going to upgrade my quality. That means I need to try some different positioning, and you can see me experimenting with different positions in this game. And so anyways, yep, we go back to this. I think this ended up being the best, and actually, when I have the Abyssal Crawler, so 6-2 formation, a split 6-2, with Shining on the 2 side, it did perform very well. So anyways, here's the person. I think this was the person who we just saw stomp us from their point of view, and let's see if the new formation works. If you can notice, beautiful engage. All 3 assassins literally get on all 3 of his hunters. Like that's just exactly what we want. And then Siren turns everything except the Taboo Witcher to stone, and that position definitely paid off. So let's talk about that positioning a little bit real quick. The difference between those rounds was when I had my Shadow Crawler and my my Shining Assassin inside my main group, what happens is Shining Assassin is not going to jump into the enemy backline, because she's a ranged unit, so she has 3 attack range. So when the enemies jump into my tanks, the Shining Assassin will actually stay back and keep attacking whatever's there. So that's the big difference. Then you can think about, instead of having all 3 assassins jump in the back line, I'm probably only having 2, my Shadow Crawler and my Abyssal, go in and jump on the back lines. And then if you ask yourself, Abyssal Crawler mitigates damage with its ultimate, but the problem is it just drops aggro, which means everything's going to start targeting the Shadow Crawler if it's only those 2 hopping in the back line. Now let's think about Shining Assassin. If Shining Assassin is there in ultimates, it's totally different because she tanks damage with her ultimate. She's still there, she just has 100% avoidance. So that's where Shining Assassin and Abyssal Crawler, even though they both have what I would classify as tanky ultimates, they play very, very different into a comp. Like the way that they function in the comp plays out very different. I will say something, when you're running a assassin comp with your Siren, you do need to be very careful about positioning, because if you notice there, my Siren didn't she didn't turn the Thunderhides to stone because they weren't facing her. So remember, something about Siren is you have to be facing the enemy team, or the enemies have to be facing your Siren to turn to stone, okay? So sometimes you can have problems with assassins, and I think it happens a few rounds, so hopefully I can point it out, but the enemies don't turn to stone because they are not facing my assassin. So we do decide to go to level 9 to get in the Taboo Witcher. I think that's just because a bunch of people are going up in level, and I just don't want to have too much of a disadvantage. But you can see the Taboo's doing almost nothing. Like, he basically instantly dies as soon as he goes in. The great news is my Shining Assassin is distracting the Dragon Knight the entire fight, so that's beautiful. And the enemy team just clumps up and gets wrecked by my Wind Ranger ultimate. But Shining Assassin is MVP. We did just get that huge damage item. I forget what that hammer is called, but it's the lightning Maelstrom. I think it's called Maelstrom hammer or something like that. But anyways, just look at the DPS meter. We can see who's carrying us. We are also beating this other person from their view, and we're scouting for the end of the game. So the end of the game lobby is 1 mage team, 2 Glacier Knight teams, and then 2 Feather Hunters. Well, I'm Feather Hunter Assassin, they're Feather Hunter. We can see that we are hitting our Abyss, and we hit another magic crystal. That's beautiful. So generally, and also not only another mana crystal, we hit a Orb of Refresh. Or I think we did. Wait, maybe not. Okay, not yet. Not yet. I'm spoiling. But anyways, So your targets for mana items are Shining Assassin and Abyssal Crawler. The reason I put it on Abyssal Crawler in general is you put it on Abyssal Crawler first because Abyssal Crawler you can get Axe of Fury, okay? Abyssal Crawler is melee, so Axe of Fury works on Abyssal Crawler, and also your Abyssal Crawler is going to go to 3-star your Abyssal Crawler can pretty regularly go to 3-star. So, and I'm only 2 away from it going to 3-star, so that's why I'm putting the mana item there, is because I can get that Axe of Fury onto it, and then a 3-star Abyssal Crawler, Axe of Fury is just almost GG anytime. Like, it is disgusting amount of damage that it can put out, and bam, we hit the 3-star, so that's beautiful. So as soon as I hit that to 3-star, I basically know, and that being the Abyssal Crawler, I basically know the game's in the bag. It would be very hard for me to lose at this point. The enemy would have to do some 6 things, because the Siren counters the Glacier Knights, the Marine synergy with these huge assassins with items and 3-star Abyssal Crawler counter the mage player. So that's what I mean by the game's in the bag. Like, I have the exact counters you would want to everybody in the game, and it's about as good as it can get for me, to be quite honest. So that's why from here we kind of turned it into some fun. We're hitting some other items, and at the beginning of the video we talked about Orb Refresh on Abyssal Crawler, and here you're going to see it. And I just want to show people, so watching the next fights, I'm going to highlight this, and we're going to discuss it. And like you can see, I know that I already have the game in the bag. So anybody watching this, please hear what I'm saying. This is, never do this. I'm showing you this, and in this game I intentionally did it because I want to show people kind of like the bad example. This is why you don't do this type of a thing. So anyways, if we watch the Abyssal Crawler, notice it's going to ult. Orb Refreshing triggers, so the ult cooldown is gone. So ready, watch, it's attacking. Okay, bam, it gets, what, one more hit? There we go, it ultimates, and you notice, look, it's not generating mana. You see how the blue bar underneath its health doesn't go when it's invisible? Okay, so that's because they made a change to Abyssal Crawler where it can't generate mana when it's invisible, okay? So that is what I mean by the Orb regen is not what it used to be on Abyssal Crawler. So before, when you could generate mana when you were ulted as an Abyssal Crawler, then the Orb regen could be insane when you had it on a 3-star Abyssal Crawler, because what would happen is you would attack, you would ultimate, right? And then you would ultimate again before you come out of your first ultimate. So you would just stay invisible for a huge chunk of time, and you could just destroy enemy team during that, especially if it was on a 3-star. So anyways, I wanted to show you all that. I know some people don't follow updates as much as a player like me may be following updates. So anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm trying to do a good mixture of different types. We had some positioning, we had some just kind of fun test mechanics, and we had some just, you know, a fun build. It is something that I'm sure you see, but it's not seen all the time. This is kind of a off build. But anyways, take care, happy ranking, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.